Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles, and on this episode we're walking in Memphis. The topic for this Walking in Memphis, CWA Wrestling from April 16th, 1988. If you haven't seen my shows before, I grade everything on a 1 to 5 scale. 1 is the worst, 5 is the best. For Walking in Memphis, we go from segment to segment, basically commercial break to commercial break. With that being said, let's jump right into this. First off, we see a video of Curt Hennig versus Jerry the King Lawler. During the match, that gets interrupted by Missy Hyatt, Eddie Gilbert, and Scott Levy, who, if you do or do not know, becomes Scotty the Body and then later on Raven. They go a little bit back and forth between calling him Scotty the Body and Scott Levy here. I believe this was very early on into the turn into Scotty the Body, and I'm pretty sure this was some of Raven's first wrestling matches. I don't believe he was wrestling more than a year or two before this. So yeah, pretty interesting. From that we go to an interview with Scott Levy and Missy Hyatt, and Scott's wearing the neck brace from taking a pile driver. Lance Russell asks Scott, why did you do it? Was it for money? And he says no, he did it because he was going to get a date with Missy Hyatt. Missy Hyatt says to win the date you have to beat Jerry Lawler. That leads us right into a match with Levy versus Lawler. Lawler makes quick work of him, beats him with the pile driver, thus causing Scott Levy to not win. He goes back over to the announce desk, asks Missy Hyatt if he's still going to get that date. She tells him no, he didn't do what they asked, smacks him in the face. Lawler comes over. Lawler says, hey, I understand you're young, you're going to make mistakes, you need to learn from this, I forgive you, puts his hand out and shakes Levy's hand. After that, we go to a promo for Eddie Gilbert. He's mostly standing with his back face to the camera because he has an obvious beaten burn on the face by Jerry Lawler. For all this segment, I thought it was really good. The interactions with Lawler, Gilbert, Levy, who would go on to be one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Getting to see him here with basically a Marine crew cut is kind of awesome. For all that, I'm giving that first segment a 5. From that, we come back to a promo with Jerry the King Lawler, which leads us right into a match with Tommy and Doug Gilbert going up against the Bruise Brothers. This match ends up in a double disqualification. Missy Hyatt gives Tommy Gilbert a spike of some sort at one point during the match, which leads us to Eddie Marlin coming out and giving the Bruise Brothers a trash can, thus causing the match to get thrown out. From that, we go into a pre-recorded promo with Curt Hennig. And this is kind of cool because it's forget what the guy's name is, but it's the announcer from the AWA, so they obviously sent them this video to do this. So pretty cool little video here, a nice little match. For all that, I'm giving that segment a 5. Coming back from break, we have a promo with Jerry Jarrett. Jerry says that basically Lawler's going to wrestle Curt Hennig for the championship, and if he loses, he's going to retire. That's followed up with a promo segment with Brickhouse Brown and Ernest Angel. Brickhouse is saying that he's come back to Memphis. He's going to try and collect the bounty because Eddie Gilbert has a bounty of, I think they said $25,000 for someone to break Lawler's leg, which is why Scott Levy, they thought he was taking up on the bounty. That leads us right into a match with Gary Young and Max Payne going up against the Nightmare Kenny Wayne and Tom Brandi. If you're not familiar with Tom Brandi, he would go on to become Salvatore Sincere and Tom Brandi both in WWE a little bit later. This match ends up being a double disqualification again when a manager named Kenny D comes out. After that, we get an interview with Kenny D and Tom Brandi, basically saying he's going to take control of Brandi's career from here. The fact that it kind of followed the same premise as the segment before, and Brickhouse Brown is not as good of an interview as Jerry Lawler was or Eddie Gilbert were, I'm giving this one a 3. I thought it was good, but a little bit repetitive. Going from that, we get another little promo segment with Jerry the King Lawler. That leads us right into a promo segment with Gary Young, Doug and Tommy the Gilberts. From that, we go right into a match with Billy Travis. Young and the Gilberts are talking about Billy Travis, Jeff Jarrett, and Eddie Marlin, which leads us right into an interview with those three guys who are talking about a match that's being set up with Gary Young and the two Gilberts. After that, we rolled right into a match, the Cuban Assassins, Cuban Assassin 1 and 2, going up against another future star, very early in his career, Scott Steiner and Ricky Nelson. This was fun again. It's kind of neat seeing these pockets of before they were stars type things on these shows. The Cuban Assassins pick up the win on this one. I'm giving this one a 4. You could see Scotty was already physically there. He may have not been there psychologically, but what we've seen would go on to be one of the most successful wrestlers of the next decade. Going from that, we get another little promo segment with Jerry the King Lawler. That leads us into our final match of the show, an 8-man tag match. Keith Eric, the Blue Knight, and Rough and Ready are going up against Jeff Jarrett, Billy Travis, Mike Graham, and Steve Kern. This was rushed. It didn't feel like it got the time it needed. I think it was like a 6-minute match. A lot of nothing really happened here. Overall, decent. The team of Jarrett, Travis, Kern, and Graham pick up the win. I'm giving that a 3. Overall, I thought this was a good show. I wouldn't say it was a great one. I'm going to give the show a 4. There's a lot of stuff in the top half of the show, the beginning of the show, that was really good. It trickled off after about the halfway point. Still getting to see stuff like Scott Steiner very early in his career still makes that half of it worth it. Seeing guys like Mike Grant and Steve Kern, who you wouldn't normally see in Memphis, that makes it worth it a bit. Seeing the likes of Missy Hyatt and Eddie Gilbert, two people I think that are criminally underrated, makes the show worth going back and checking out. And if you want to, forgot to mention this in the beginning, there is a link here in the description if you want to watch the video I reviewed for this. Again, overall, I'm giving it a 4. And if you made it all the way to the end, smash that like button, share the video, subscribe. Let me know you made it to the end. Let's put Big Papa Pump in the comments. I know he's not Big Papa Pump for another decade, but I love Scotty Steiner. I think he's one of my favorite wrestlers of that generation. With all that being said, my name is George Coles, and we've been walking in Memphis.